That's it. That's our end goal, right? Having a
Yeah.
simpler, cleaner, faster, and smarter way to be able to make decisions, to be able to create a business that is fun again. Fun again. I think that's an important part.
We're here to infuse life and fun back into business, helping owners focus on the good stuff. We are XODA.
All right, guys. Welcome to another session with John and I, and we're looking forward to this session very much. John and I, we've been talking behind the scenes about what we've been doing in XODA and what we wanted to do to push XODA into a brand new version. And we're very excited today to have a chat a bit more about what we're doing in XODA 2.0. So welcome, John. We'll probably dive into a little bit more, eh?
It's been a little while in the making, mate. Glad to be here. We're at this point, and it's been a lot of work in the background for you and I. Many months, days, but we're here now, which is exciting, and can't wait to share what we're about to share with the audience.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, let me maybe just for those guys who don't know me, I'll probably just talk to them a little bit about who I am. Like my name is Jackson, and I've been running a marketing agency with automations. And one of the things that we've spoken about with John in the past is how can we consolidate a product together, and how we can make XODA a really powerful product in the gym space. How can we serve our clients a lot better in being able to give them a simple, smart system when it comes to the core management platform, but also giving a one-stop shop, including all the powerful marketing software that we can actually do as well too. And I've served probably over 400 gyms in the last few years, and same thing with John. And then I think it's a really powerful team that we're putting together right now that for XODA to look at what we can, how we can serve the clients moving forward.
I think you made a very important point. I think you used a key word called simple. Again, between you and I, we've serviced hundreds and hundreds of clubs in many, many different countries and regions. And we know that, fitness businesses aren't as simple as what people think from the outside. They are complex businesses. It's a very, very competitive market. It is difficult to stand out as a fitness operator in 2026, more so than ever.
100%.
And I think you've got to have a powerful technology tool that is empowering your business. But obviously, the more powerful tools become, the more difficult they become to use. And I think what we've really focused on is providing that powerful system that can propel your business forward, but doing it in a way that's intuitive, that makes sense for fitness operators and how they would need to use it with all the other things they've got to do day to day. So I think that's a really important word, and we'll touch on it a bit more today. But simplicity
Absolutely
is the real power of these platforms.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about XODA 2.0. Now, XODA been around for quite a while now, for 4 years or so, or 4 or 5 years. So for those who know XODA, just let the guys know what XODA is all about.
XODA got started, right at the start of, I think, 2022. So we're kind of coming into just over 4 years now. And, obviously we saw a really key gap in the market where there was a need for a more modern tech solution that not only provided all the day-to-day bits and pieces you need to run your business. We need bookings and we need payments and we need to be able to sign up members. We know these things, but we really wanted to provide a platform that, spoke to the more modern boutique fitness business that was trying to drive community connectivity, that was really wanting to become a real pillar in their local community and stand out and be a meaningful business that did more than just provide a place for people to come and exercise. And we wanted to provide tools that supported that, and we speak to so many fitness business owners, and community culture is the thing that they're most proud of in their fitness business. But they don't really have systems that kind of can measure that, that can gauge that, can kind of aid them and drive that. So that was where we saw a really distinct gap to provide some great tools that, allowed these businesses to really stand out and show their importance in the community and show why they're so necessary and needed in every community. And it's been a pretty incredible journey over the last 4 years, now in about 13, 14 different countries, providing fitness technology to fitness businesses in so many different parts of the world. And obviously now bringing this new combination and solution to life has been something that we've been so eagerly working towards over the last 12 months to really provide now what we deem a complete end-to-end solution for fitness businesses, where they are getting the best analytics reporting, community building tools combined now with the right tools to be able to acquire and bring in new business, grow their bottom line, grow their revenue, and really make a significant leap forward in, the modern tech era. So, we want fitness businesses to be very much tech enabled, because we think it's critical for them to survive, to thrive, and to really, achieve what they need to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who still not quite sure what Zoda kind of go up against with the software, who will be kind of your common denominators or common software that people will be replacing something like Zoda with? Be like a MindBody, or what software will they be utilizing at the moment that Zoda will be replacing?
Definitely, we see a lot of clubs coming over from the likes of MindBody or a gym master in the 24-hour space, where they're really looking for just a lot more of a modern, intuitive solution, which we obviously provide. Those core operating systems, obviously, they've been around for a long time and they've done wonderful things. They've laid a real foundation, for companies like Zoda to come. But at the end of the day, we've provided tools, I think, that are more fit and usable for businesses that are trying to evolve, trying to modernize, and want to go beyond just having a reactive platform that kind of gives them information that's happened and leaves it to them to make their own sort of decisions moving forward. They want something that's a bit more intuitive, a bit more predictive, and just provides them with a way that they can really not just deliver the physical product of a fitness class or a yoga class or whatever it is, but they want a way that's going to extend and continue to be a part of their consumer or customer's life even when they leave the gym. They want something that is extending beyond just their four walls, which I think is super appropriate and necessary in the modern market.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk a bit more about XODA 2.0, what sort of transpired into, this version. And I think a very common thing that we probably should talk about is what started the conversation in the first place, right? The whole thing of different CRM, different kind of systems that we see a lot of gyms have in the business. Like, you're targeting the core payment softwares, and I'm on the other side. We are really very much looking at different things, things like email marketing, lead generation, and all that stuff. And this is probably a slide that we saw as two different businesses that we go, hang on, wait a minute, all these different things they're all utilized in the business. They use CRMs, they use bookings, they use payments, they use email. When we look at the business, they usually have like 4 or 5 different types of softwares managing all these things all at the same time, and none of it talking to each other.
I mean, it was such a common theme, such a common theme when you talk to owners, and it was surprising how many tech stacks it was taking to run a 200-member fitness studio, and it was something that kept coming up, recurring, and I think the reason for that is, it is difficult as a platform to sit there and create a tool that is everything to everyone. You end up sort of not being really a great at any particular thing. You become a real generalist, and I think that's not a great outcome for the end user either. And so you have fitness businesses who are kind of deploying software that is core and specializes in certain areas: lead management, payments, bookings, and then you've got accounting or whatever it is. And that is good because you're getting the best tools in those specific areas. The disconnect is obviously then you're spending time managing and trying to streamline and correct data across all those platforms so that they are unified to some degree, which is a very challenging thing to be able to do. And if those systems aren't really working in unison together, you're not going to get an outcome that's going to be transformative for your business. You're just not. You're going to end up with a lot of really good specialized tools that create a lot of additional manual work for you to upkeep them. And I think where the conversation with you and I started is Zoda was working so hard on creating tools to manage the core processes of a business. To make sure that the member access and how you want to configure your schedules and your payments and your data and your analytics and how you want to, view an active member versus how another club might, all these wonderful configurations that allow you to have a very sophisticated operation. But on the other end, you were doubling down and focusing on, right, let's get customers in the door. for these fitness businesses. Let's create a pipeline management tool that is going to ensure that no one slips through the cracks. Let's create these wonderful automations, workflows that allow businesses to become more streamlined, automated, to ensure that their touch points are consistent. And, you know, if we're going to spend time trying to develop those things as well as the core platform, you start to become a generalist platform that really isn't good at everything. So I think it was natural to just bring those two worlds together. All the things that you're working on, making an incredible platform to do, combined with our solution together. This was really bringing the best of both worlds to our customers. And that's what it's been. You know, so I think it was a natural progression, but it was a great way to provide a platform that does cover the end-to-end journey in a really specialized way without being a generalist platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one of the things I saw on my end was that so many people were trying to manage leads, manage all the flows, and there's a lot of double handling. They were using Google Sheet. The website wasn't connecting to their CRM, and that wasn't connecting to their core management system. Just that amount of admin that people were doing were just astounding. I mean, I started using a platform like this when I was using XODA, and then just the amount of time you're able to say to have, you know, a systematic approach when it comes to managing leads, as well as being able to manage the communication from one platform to the next, not having to double check different platforms. And that was kind of where, like we spoke about a couple of years ago, and then wanting to bring everything in one system and working very hard on the back end to create a seamless system between the two. And I think this is what we talk about, and that's why we introduced XODA Reach. XODA is a core platform, and Reach is coming into, I guess, a part of a product as part of XODA to make sure we manage the marketing side of things really well, being able to implement not only the latest automation, but implementing AI as part of the layers to be able to assist people to actually not only generate more leads, manage data, but making sure they're all going into the XODA platform to ensure that the management of the core payments and so on are very, very seamless. There's no more double handling between the two different systems, because you're always going to have a core system that manage payments and bookings. You're always going to have a calendar system or something that manages leads. No business we've looked at that does not have those two core products in the business yet. They all have different techs to actually manage those things at the same time.
Absolutely. No, I think the combination of those two solutions to make them one is what's critical. You know, like if you're managing your core business over here and you've got your marketing automation tool sitting over here, and you don't have a real true source of data that is kind of flowing and driving those two systems, you're going to end up with outcomes that aren't what you want. You're going to end up with automations, workflows, communication going to wrong users. You really need to, as an owner, think about what your messaging is and how you are delivering that message to your customers or to portions of your customer base that's going to maximize basically the outcome and the return for your business. You know, you may want your clients to engage more. You may want them to spend a bit more and consume more of your product, because that's going to lead to better retention, better outcome results, you know, a more loyal customer base. To do these things, it's almost impossible if you've got 200-300 members without automation tools, without the ability to segment your data, to be able to understand what person A likes, dislikes, what they do, and to be able to put them into a particular communication channel that is unique and representative of them and their interests. And to do that, you need a really critical source of data that is true, that is reliable, that is driving all of these things. That's not, you know, I'm going to try and take information over here and I'm going to try and input it over here, and then I'm going to manually move this person here. It's anything manual requires an enormous amount of discipline to be able to maintain, and that's the problem. So we need to take all that away so that you can actually get a good, clear understanding of what's happening in your business, the type of customer that you're servicing, what matters to them, what's important to them, and then how you then go and create that personalization for them at scale. And that's what's exciting about this platform, is it's just going to give a new way for businesses to be able to attract clients, but then communicate and nurture their existing customer base. And I think that's such an incredibly important part of, what fitness businesses need to be able to deliver and do to stay relevant and compete in today's market.
Yeah, and one of the things for me is that time is the essence. Like, to be able to reduce the amount of administration times and have that consistent data across the platforms, knowing who to be targeting, who to have the ability to that their key decision, like, what data you're looking for. The number of times I've seen people using Google Sheets and then looking at their core product or core platform like MindBody or whatever app platform they're currently using, the amount of times that the data doesn't match is probably like 95% of the time, because like you said, whenever you have to go in and manually update a row because someone cancel or suspend it or something, or change a membership, like, you have to go to manually do something in that Google Sheet, there's going to be mistakes. It's just going to happen. So, with this one system we're talking about, like, XODA drives a lot of that information into XODA Reach, where it allows XODA Reach to manage and segment the data with what matters when it comes to marketing and reach outs and so on. And I think this next slide really depicts that conversation we've spoken about. Reach is what attracts the leads coming through. It's consolidate all the leads coming from websites, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Wherever the leads are coming from, they're going to create the ability to bring those leads in. We can generate AI ads, you can run ads, you can generate leads, manage all those things. And you have the ability to convert them because you have a management process that can automate different kinds of communication, got AI in there that book appointments and converse with them if they needed to. So it's not only just a system, but it's an essential team member that sits in your business 24/7. And then once they come into a gym where they do the consultation, the number one thing that we speak to gym owners about, as you will know, is that they all say we're good at being able to get conversion when they come in, right? They're all good at doing that, but we need to get to that point first. And then that's usually what they're missing. That once they come in, once they get a conversation going, they can convert, and now they can put it into XODA to start giving them a good customer experience to deliver that experience within the platform, manage them, how to get bookings, how to communicate, how to get the communication between the members within the platform, and all those things. And I think what would be good for you to touch on insights, what XODA Insight can actually deliver for a gym owner, what that actually really means for them.
And just to take it back a few little steps there, Jackson, there was a gym owner that you and I recently spoke to who was using a very, we'll say a legacy lead management tool, where it was really just kind of manually adding leads. They were manually driving every touch point. I think the stats from them was 8 out of every 10 leads never even picked up the phone. They couldn't even get in contact with 8 out of 10 leads. So literally only 2 out of every 10 they were able to get in contact with. And it was because those touch points were so manual, and they're getting quite a volume of leads coming in every day. Someone's only really being touched a couple of times, Monday, Tuesday, and then by Wednesday, all the new leads are taking preference, and there's no consistent process to go back and retouch the leads from a couple of days ago who may have just been having a busy few days at work, haven't had a chance to answer their phone. So they were missing an incredible amount of opportunity, which we were able to solve very quickly by giving them a process where they could track, firstly, how many calls and messages were going to the customer. It wasn't just done manually on a staff's phone. It was being done through the system. We could track things like time to first contact, so we could measure how much more likely they were to get in touch with someone early if they communicated with them quicker when the lead came in. We were able to measure, give them those metrics, and improve their contact rate or their ability to get in touch with contacts significantly, which obviously drove more sales. If you're able to get 5 out of 10 people in the front door as opposed to 1, you're going to sell more memberships, of course. And so little things like that make a significant difference, and you just can't afford to not have those processes in place, because getting people in your door is ultimately what's going to make a huge difference in the revenue that you earn in that year. Of course, yes, retention is another big part of that, but you have to be able to convert customers. You've got to be able to take advantage of every single person that shows interest in your business. You've got to be able to take advantage of that situation, get in front of that person, because they may be looking at 2 or 3 other clubs in your local area. You have to stand out quickly.
Yeah,
You just
absolutely.
have to. And if you don't stand out quickly, you've lost them before you've even had a chance to win them, right? So it is that competitive.
Yes.
Insights is a great point. Insights is a incredibly powerful business analytical, reporting tool that XODA has built, which is very customizable, which essentially, pulls all of the information in your particular system into a data warehouse where all of your data is obviously it's cleaned, it's processed, it's provided in an incredibly structured way, and it's used to be able to provide a custom reporting layer for every club where they can really be honing in and focusing on the key things that matter to them, and using things like our AI layer to obviously gain an understanding of what is likely to occur in the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Where are the areas in their business that they have to work on? Is it that they don't have enough clients in their database that have upcoming bookings? If they're a booking-based class like a Pilates studio or a group training studio, they may want to be operating at a ratio of 80% of their customers always with a future booking. That is something that we can assess, we can analyze, that can provide recommendations on. That's just one data point. Obviously, there's a huge amount of data that they can start to program and learn from. Customer lifetime value, conversion metrics, attendance is a huge one. We can break that down and make that an incredibly granular reporting so that the owners can really understand the behavioral shifts and what's going on in their business, but also just focus on the things that really matter to them, because every business owner has a slightly different way that they want to run. And every business owner has a different sort of idea in terms of the outcomes that they're looking for. And that's what makes Insights so powerful. It's not just kind of a standard cookie cutter, here's a list of reports. It really allows you to slice and dice the information and get the outcomes and the data that are important to you to be able to make the right decisions. So it's an incredibly powerful tool. It even extends to client performance, so that if you're a real performance-based business and you're measuring people's progress with certain lifts or their strength, it provides you a tremendous amount of information to be able to track and analyze that and see how your cohort of customers are actually performing in their own physical health journey. And very soon it's going to be extended to be able to pull in lifestyle data from customers as well, and really be able to complete the picture for owners in terms of not just what this client's health looks like inside our four walls, but what are they actually doing outside the club to promote their health? Because there is a real link between a client's health lifestyle activity outside of the club as to how well they're going to perform and stay inside the business. So this is all information that we have the capacity to drive into insights to fuel owners in understanding not just how their business is performing, but what is actually going on with their customer.
Yeah, 100%. I think the most important thing you mentioned is the data you're able to store and able to create and have that given to the gym owners to make decisions based on what data you already have, because you can't make those decisions unless you have a very clear picture of what's actually happening in your business. When everything from your leads to your attendance to your members' behaviors to what they're doing, what they that may be doing, all those things are so critical when it comes to marketing. And I think that's one of the things that we've definitely been talking about. How can we create a system that can give them that important information to give them the process to make the right movement for the business to grow? And I think one of the things that we also spoken about with XODA is how flexible it is, both with XODA Reach and XODA in itself. Like how simple it is for us to be flexible in fitting into different type of businesses and making sure we can fit into a different kind of client journey they may have, whether it be a Pilates studio 24/7 or a boutique strength and performance type of gym. They have the ability to customize their services and bookings. Maybe we can just touch on a little bit about that as well too.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes the platform so powerful, is it has the right amount of, I guess, configurations where fitness businesses don't feel like they have to squeeze their model into our platform. Yeah. And I think that's often a conversation that we have as fitness business owners going, we want to operate this way, but because we operate with a system, whatever it may be, that's very rigid in the way that it allows, you to manage memberships, or, you can't build multiple services and credits in a particular membership. So now we've got to sell multiple tiers or whatever it may be. But they're constantly feeling like we have to make adjustments to the way we want to operate so that it works within the software. And that was fundamentally something that we really wanted to reverse. We wanted to provide, obviously, a tool that promoted best practices and good business operations, but had enough flexibility within a framework that owners felt like they could add their own personalization and their own way to the way that the system thinks and the way the system behaves when it comes to their business. And that's something that we continue to work with operators on and continue to make a better experience as we go, so that owners, when they pick it up, they go, okay, the way that I want to run my business is possible, and I can easily program it into XODA, into XODA Reach. I can make the changes, I can make the optimizations, I can put my own logic in what I deem to be an active member versus what I deem to not be an active member. I can make those shifts and changes. So when I'm looking at reporting, it's giving me an active member number that is representative of the logic that I want to apply. Maybe I don't want to include pack users or one-off users as active members or conversions, or maybe I do. So these are things that we've really given a lot of flexibility on, which ultimately fuels reporting and data and analytics and then decision making. So, that's been something, just that example I gave about, applying their own sort of reporting logic and logic to what they deem an active or a trial user. These things have been tremendously impactful for businesses to be able to actually gauge how the business is doing based on the metrics that matter to them and based on the outcomes that matter to them, not us dictating, our logic and saying, well, this has to be an active member because they've gone through this process. Giving them that flexibility has been a tremendous win for the businesses in terms of understanding the data when they look at it and it making sense to them, which, you can have the best reporting tools in the world. If the logic doesn't make sense to the operator, they're not going to be able to have any confidence in it. It's not going to be representative of their business. So they're not going to use it. They're not going to get benefit from it. And so many operators put up with the current system that they use. They just put up with it. Oh, it's just the way it is. So we just deal with it. There are better ways. And that's the big thing. And if you're in that situation, you need to look for a better way. Because it's out there.
And I think one thing you mentioned, I think I need to touch on this, because I think that what you said about having the flexibility and the best practices, those things has to go hand in hand. I think you got to have best practices, which means that you got to have. I've seen interesting ways that people have used management platforms, and they have 30 or 40 different type of packages in there, whereas that may not be the best practice. So I think what we're saying is exactly right, is that you got to have the best practices, how we want to manage the journey from a lead coming to a trial or maybe like a visit or something like that, and how do you want to go through the whole sales process. Give them enough flexibility, but also making sure give them enough best practices to make sure that is working the way it needs to, so the data is nice and clean when you do the reporting. I think that's important for us to really lean on, is that we'll give it all the tools, but you also give it a really good way of managing your business to have the right process in XODA Reach, because at the end of the day, XODA is going to drive marketing as well too, because the data it pushes into XODA Reach is what's going to drive the right kind of marketing you're going to have. And that's what I want to touch on the next slide, is that the marketing that knows what happens next, because what we want to do is know exactly what that journey looks like. From the point of they're coming in, do they download the app? Do they buy something? Do they not do something? Do they, do they require some follow-ups? Do they need to have a conversation with someone, have someone follow them up? And that's kind of what XODA Reach does, is that we are able to look at all the data that XODA gives us and go, okay, great, this person has downloaded an app, did not purchase something, so they're in a lead journey. We need to treat them a certain way. We need to make sure we have automations behind it a certain way to ensure they get to the next step. And the way I explain to gym owners is that we want to move them through silos or little buckets, I call them. Are they a lead at the moment? Are they having a conversation with someone? That's a different type of journey. Are they coming for a visit? Are they going to come for a trial? Are they going to be coming for are they currently converting to a member? Are they a pack member? Are they a casual member? Every one of those status are recorded in XODA, pushed into XODA Reach, and then we know exactly where everything is at, so that when you're looking at a opportunity pipeline, you know where you've got to be focusing on, who you've got to be focusing on. And then now we've implemented an AI layer over top of that. Now you have an actual assistant that gives you a report on a daily or monthly or weekly basis to tell you where you can actually start making some wins, because it's not just automations anymore. It's automations plus an AI assistant that allows it to give you reports on a daily basis to go, this is what should be happening, and this is what should be, what should be going on with these leads that you have captured in your marketing platform, and gives you context in exactly what's happening in your lead journey, and also give you a very good context of what's happening in your membership journey as well too.
I think it's tremendously exciting. I mean, gone are the days where, and I've worked in sort of sales manager, roles in the past where you're constantly going to your team, asking for updates. Where's this lead at? Where's this? And, all the communication's done in their own private devices. So you've got no visibility on how many times they've called or texted, or you're going through email chains to try and figure out what the last comms were with someone. I mean, the great thing about consolidating all that into a tool and adding an AI sales agent essentially is that agent is getting and able to consolidate all of that information, calls, conversations, past meetings, and be able to provide you at any sort of frequency that you want, updates as to where everyone's at, who's the best person to next contact, or what the next action should be on that particular lead. It's just providing you with very fast information, very fast and accurate information to give you the best possible chance to take an action that is going to maximize the possibility of you turning that lead into a customer. And I think that is something that is missing across the board when we talk to health club owners and we talk to them about their actual lead management process. We as operators and owners, we tend to focus so much of our energy on building our product, which is we want to have the best yoga class, we want to have the best Pilates class, a good train, and that is energy well spent. But we don't then often go and put the same energy into building a process that's going to ensure that we're maximizing opportunities with every person that comes in contact with our business as a lead. And the good news is tools like this are so easy to implement.
Yes.
If you've got this very fragmented sales process at the moment where things are here, there, and everywhere, some things are on paper, some things within a few days, that can all be consolidated into a best in class sales process. With the right reporting and analytics. So that's the exciting part, is that these things are not difficult to put into your business. It's probably one of the easiest processes to plug in as a starting point. So that's the exciting part, is we can revamp a business very quickly and get them into a conversion engine.
Yeah, 100%. And what's exciting for me is the fact that it's not just for single operators anymore. It's the fact that these tools are there for single operators, those who've got teams, you want to manage their team performances and data and performances. And these things are so important, because now you're able to bring someone on board and say, this is the actual process. You're going to get sent at XYZ. This is an agent sitting there that monitors what's going on. And these are the data that's being pushed across in XODA and XODA Reach. Now we know we've got five people on trial. One of them have come in, one of them no showed. Make sure you contact that person. So it gives you the ability as an owner to have a system in place that your team can actually follow, and not just kind of hoping for the best. So I think that's an exciting part for me, is like they have something that can put in place for gym owner to be able to go, yeah, great. Now I have a system that can support me and my team to do their job better, not having to be so pulled away from so many different directions, because they do. Like, you got, if you have fragmented tools, you've got tool sheets over here, you got emails over here, and then you got, a membership management over here. Like, you have to click multiple times to find that information, when you can have a consolidated database. AI agent sitting in there gives you an information within seconds, and you can go ahead and do your thing. You can trim that 2-3 minutes a day across different tasks. Now you're saving hours in a week, and that's important for a gym owner, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think this is what happens. That's our end goal, right? Having a simpler, cleaner, faster, and smarter way to be able to to make decisions, to be able to, create a business that is fun. And again, fun again. I think that's an important part. Now, I remember I came to gym business and really loved to start off with, and then all of a sudden, all this administration stuff kicks in. It's like, well, that doesn't seem very fun anymore. I think
I think business owners in general, but let's just talk about fitness business owners, and obviously you and I speak to fitness businesses owners every day, and often they just do feel spread very thin, and sometimes they solve that problem through adding more and more complexity, and they think they've got we actually need to simplify. Great systems and great tools don't add complexity to businesses. They simplify operations and they simplify things. And if there is a clearer process for your team, clearer process for you, that alone removes a significant amount of stress and indecision that can exist in your business, which could be hurting a lot of things. If people understand, when this happens, we do this. When this happens, we do this. And that's very clear. That's very documented. That's technology enabled and underpinned. The uplift and the morale is significant. Yeah. And that's probably something we don't talk about enough. We talk about technology saving you time. We talk about technology, helping you. We don't talk about how technology implemented correctly can boost the morale of everybody in your business. It really, really does, because it gives them confidence that there is fail safes, that there is a way of doing things that works, that they don't have to exhaust themselves thinking about and trying to find solutions for, because the solutions exist. It's there. They know where to go to look for things, to find information, to either back up what they need to know. These things are incredibly important for your team morale, your team energy, and just making them feel like they are part of a winning formula, which we all want to feel. We don't want to go to work feeling like things are on fire and we don't know where to go for this, or we're not sure about this, and we get asked a question and we've got no idea. These things don't build a huge amount of confidence in your team. So when you have these things operating really, really well, it is transformative in so many ways. I think it's absolutely the bare minimum and the essential part that every owner needs to ensure they have the foundations for their business to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think ultimately this is what we want to end on here, is that we want to have a more unified XODA experience, which means you got one place that can manage your clients, one place you can reach your clients, you got one login, one URL, one app that you're logging into.
Yeah.
And not only do you have a desktop access, but you have a mobile access for your lead management or for your membership management, into all in one place. And I think having that unified experience is ultimately what we've been working very hard on, to be able to bring XODA 2.0 to the market. And
correct.
And I think the important part is that we want to say is that if you haven't tried XODA, then we're going to leave all the details in the comments and description, so you can actually go and get a free account, jump in, have a look. Same thing with XODA Reach, is you're going to have all the marketing tools, the different things you get access to, and just go in and we can jump on a call with you guys, and just showing you what we believe is a different experience in terms of managing leads and managing clients and managing the experiences and managing a team all in one area.
And we're obviously excited as well to bring this to all of our XODA customers, who'll be getting obviously the ability to start to utilize XODA Reach in their businesses. Obviously, we've already got some XODA clients that have been jumping on the XODA 2.0 version with XODA Reach, and obviously the feedback has been incredibly positive. So we can't wait to actually bring this to our broader XODA users already, who have gotten the benefits of using the XODA core platform day to day in their business with their bookings and their payments and their analytics and reporting. They're now going to get such a significant upgrade with the addition of XODA Reach coming to their platform, where they're really going to have such a powerful lead generation, conversion, automation tool sitting there ready to be deployed in a really, really fast way to help them grow their businesses. So, we can't wait to share that with all of the XODA customers, which we'll be doing, over the next couple of months, which is super exciting. So, lots to come out of this, which is great.
Going on. The great thing for me is
Absolutely.
this is the beginning of XODA 2.0. Like, this is not like the end result. This is like the beginning of a product. Not only have we got it put together, so now we're going to launch it into all our existing clients, but now it's like, now we have a consolidated approach that we can now really improve on XODA 2.0 moving forward. And I'm just looking forward to be able to have all these different layers of different tools that really, really simplify the user experience and making sure they can grow the business without having all the stress and headaches they have currently, So yeah, looking forward to the roadmaps of XODA 2.0. And guys, if you are watching to the end, thank you very much for joining us. And I want to make sure that you go into the descriptions, go in there and look at the links that we provide for you to download and get access to the tools that we've been talking about. Till next time.
Thanks everyone for watching.